Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of the Agentic CMO. I am excited for this conversation today. We've got another fantastic expert in the space of multi-location businesses and brands, where we talk about what's going on with AI, what's going on in the business, what's driving everything forward. So today, my fantastic guest is Melissa Stiles from Storage Asset Management. She's the Chief Growth Officer. Melissa, welcome to the Agentic CMO.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me. I'm excited for this conversation.
Excellent. Do you mind start off, just an intro to yourself, your background, and then Storage Asset Management, and I know you guys do some unique things where you guys have a lot of brands you handle, and it's just a unique model. Would love to set the stage with that as well.
Yeah, I'll start out with about the Storage Asset Management. So we are the largest privately owned third-party management company in the self-storage space. So that what makes us unique is that we do not own any of the locations. We solely manage. We have about 600 locations that we manage. We have one national brand, StorageSense, that has about 300 locations. But other than that, we will allow owners to keep their brands. So we manage about 108 different brands. If they choose to not be part of the StorageSense brand, which is a differentiator for us, you have that national brand, or you can choose to have your local brand as well. And I've been with the company for just under 13 years. We had 32 locations. So it's been really fun to be on this ride and to be able to be a part of growing the company.
Wow, that's some serious growth and an exciting time. I would love to get into the business model a little bit later, but everybody is so interested today in how customers are finding brands and businesses, how they pick a storage facility, how that has modified, the new sites and the rest of it. What are you guys seeing? Is there different channels people are finding you on as someone who's responsible for marketing, and getting people in the door? What's changed recently?
Yeah, it's interesting. The customer journey has definitely shifted a bit. We've seen more traffic to our website from the AI platforms. I mean, I will be honest, it's still very low, right? It's around 1% to 2%, but that's been exponentially increasing. In the last 6 months, we've seen that increase like over, 2 times the amount. But what's really interesting about that is that even though it's a smaller avenue of traffic sources, it's converting at about 6%. And to put that to perspective, our paid search, so where we're really getting that intent by spending money on Google Ads, is converts about 3%. So it's double the conversion rate. And so that tells us that when people are searching AI, they're getting the answers that they need, and they're able to make that buying decision right away when they come onto our website.
And is that traffic coming from ChatGPT? Is it coming from Perplexity, Gronk? Like where is that actually coming from?
Yeah, I mean, ChatGPT is the leading channel, but we have seen Claude and Perplexity pick up over the past few months as well. But ChatGPT is definitely leading that charge.
Wow. And you've seen the cost, I assume, of Google as well, increasing like a lot of our other customers. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely more people are bidding on that smaller ad space, which makes the cost drive up as well. So yeah, we've seen that increase, but it's still converting at a good rate. It's still been great for us as a channel. It's just, we're watching the AI channels as well, and being able to just ensure all conversion funnels are working.
Great, Melissa. And are there specific things that you guys are doing on channels like ChatGPT to get more traffic if it's converting so well?
Yeah, I mean, we are going to pilot some ads with ChatGPT, have not launched that quite yet. But I really think with all of these models, doing the basics that you were doing to show up in Google is still the way to go as far as showing up well. So you want good content that's relevant. So frequently asked questions, adding them to your website, that just gets the content there that those models can scan and use your facility or your location as as an answer. And then other things like citation listings. So making sure you're listed on all of the directories. Social is also a big one too, making sure that you are relevant on social, publishing on social, especially the local content. And then just making sure the technical SEO on your website is correct too. So it's really those foundational things that you should be doing to show up well on Google, is the same thing that's translating well into those models.
What we've seen is that things like trust signals, like the ones you're saying on social and your citations, but the reputation as well has become even more critical. It's like it used to be all about how do we get, okay, when somebody comes in, they look at your site, they want to feel good that you've got, 4.5 stars or whatever that looks like. But these engines, it's critical that if they don't see that, they're not recommending, they're not saying, okay, this is the storage facility you should go to in your area, and that type of thing as well.
The reviews were until this year more about discoverability, but now they are truly about what, the recommendation piece as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Interesting. It's like a lot of the old, everything SEO is even more important now, but then there's a couple other things and more gaps in there as well that you gotta fill in and be aware of and drive. Excellent. Melissa, that's a lot about how you're capturing customers internally. Like I said, you've got a unique model. You guys don't own any of these properties, but you've got, it sounds like over 100 brands, individual brands that you guys got to go. First off, before we get into sort of the technical side of it all, like how does somebody decide that? Like what's the decision? Because I've got a bunch of customers like this where some of them everything's got to go to the parent brand and rebrand, or they make an acquisition and do they do it? Others where we've got a lot of local credibility already. We don't want to lose that. Like, how do you guys think about that or advise, a business that you guys bring in, which path to go down?
Yeah, I think you were spot on there. So definitely try to get as many possible onto our national brand, because as you know, the authority there, the more locations that you have on, not only the brand awareness piece, but also the authority on Google gets better as well. So you're able to perform quicker online than if you were a single brand when you're part of that bigger brand with that. But if it's a local brand and it's been there established within a community and it has good reviews, people really know this brand, then we would recommend to keep the local brand as well. And sometimes owners just really love their brand and they built this brand, it's theirs. And so they just want to stick with it. So we're able to just, put that on our platform and do the same things that we would for our Storage Sense brand, for their local brand. It's just with the Storage Sense, we do have other pieces on different platforms because of its number of locations. It gets preferential rates or preferential treatment just by vendors because of the number of locations that brand carries.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's also the way I think about it is a bit of a one-way door decision, right? If you roll into the new brand, okay, great. You can't really split back out and go the other way. If you stay with your own local brand, eventually you can always go roll into the bigger brand as well. But excellent. Well, again, Melissa, everybody is trying to do more with less these days. Maximize their teams that I'm sure are already stretched super thin. Like, how are you guys thinking about AI internally? What are things that you guys are setting up using either vendors or some of these platforms directly? Like, what are some of the things you're doing to maximize the efficiency of your teams with AI?
Yeah, I think the great thing about AI is you can make faster decisions with the data. So the data's already been there, but now with AI, you can turn that into actionable insights very fast. And so, whether it's pricing with the revenue management team and looking at competitors, or with the marketing team looking at like Google Ads and how are we performing? Are we running, the correct budget? Looking at website analytics and, putting that all together with the operational data, we can make those decisions much faster. We have not, AI hasn't replaced anybody on our team, but it has made the team more efficient in that they can make those decisions across all locations very fast, and look at it that way. from that aspect, and ensuring that, every store is performing optimally using using that data. We can do it across all locations, or we can zone into a single location that's maybe underperforming and understand why very quickly.
Everyone's got there's certainly a curve of this, of everyone's starting to adopt. It feels like there's two things holding people back from using at least the foundational models themselves. One is, this the fear of burning through all your tokens, and the cost of that, or somebody set something up running overnight and it just goes, and you wake up in the morning and whatever. And then the other is, like, especially in the workplace, the hallucination, like, really can hurt, right? Like, I don't know, somebody from my marketing team showed me a chart the other day. It looked beautiful. It was clearly done with AI. I'm glad that they're using AI to move faster and build these things out, this great timeline. And the last date on it was clearly wrong. It was like, nothing to do with our project. And again, they're moving fast. They're doing a lot of things, but, like, things like that in business don't fly so well when the numbers are wrong, or when you get this false sense of, oh, the AI told me this is a perfect thing. Well, it's sort of trained to make you feel good about yourself. But what have you seen on those fronts?
Yeah, a couple comments there. I think, one of the early use cases of AI was content, right? And so we were using Jasper, I don't know, 2019, 2018, somewhere in there. And what it did, it took the content writers into more of the editors, right? And the reviewers. And I think that's the same thing, even in the case with the chart, right? You are not now, you don't have to know Excel models, but you do know how to ensure that the data is correct and ensure that it is, presenting correctly as well. So it is everyone's responsibility to double check the AI and not just rely solely on that, but it's another tool that can maybe get you to a quicker answer.
Yeah. How about the token fear? How do you guys play that? Is
Yeah, I mean, we use Claude on the enterprise level, and there are some that are using it obviously more than others, and the token piece. But it's just smartly using, and the projects and the artifacts and those kind of things, making sure that they're set up correctly, where it's maximizing the tool without running into the token issue.
Okay. Yeah. It's a fear I have personally, and that's something we think about with our customers as well. Yeah, it can if put in the wrong hands, certainly. Melissa, you got a preview of some of the agents that Birdeye is building, and some of the ways that we're thinking about helping companies automate and scale their marketing organization and their customer experience. What was your thoughts? Like is this, both in terms of what you saw Birdeye rolling out, but also how you think about when to use a Claude off the shelf, when you would go to a partner like Birdeye to look for a solution, and also just a willing, like, when would you automate something? We were talking about these risks of errors coming out as well. At what point would you automate or get enough trust to automate with these agents?
Yeah, I always say, with AI, you automate for speed, but you want to humanize anything that touches the customer. And so I think that's where the Birdeye product lends well, because it's all about the customer journey, whether it's the discovery or, the asking for the review. And so Birdeye has has the templates, the AI agents, and all of that data and information to really understand the customer journey, to humanize that interaction too. So the AI agents within the platform are really being trained for that, versus a Claude out of the box. Yes, you can train it to know your company, but that customer experience piece, I think, is what Birdeye's agents do very well.
Yeah, what we've seen is this sort of trade-off between, like, scalability and, like, the perfect, like, humanization of it. And when you get to the scale you guys are at, I debate whether or not it's better to have the right team training and tuning an agent to be on point, have the right guardrails, all the rest of it, versus providing, somebody at the front desk who's also, responsible for tours and 100 and billing and 100 other things. Are they going to stay on brand, especially if someone attacks them personally, or,
Right.
like things like that? So it's, It's great to have sort of both models in hand. I would think so. Fantastic. Melissa, you clearly are thinking about this customer journey and the way it's changing. You're driving your teams in new ways with AI and scaling that way. I know you're a chief growth officer, which does more than just marketing. But to me, you are definitely an agentic CMO and get this new world, which is exciting and fast paced and ever changing. Advice, what should other people out there, either in the storage business, multi-location brands in general, what should people be thinking about as they get into this newer world and try and figure out the right path forward?
Yeah, it's really hard to narrow just like one piece of advice with AI, right? Because there's just so many use applications. You have to be super aware of it and how you show up on their models, because customers are starting to use that to start their journey and to find you. So, just at the simplest, going into a ChatGPT or a Claude and putting your brand name in or your whatever your location is, if you're a different type of business, just putting that in there and what's the best in there and seeing what, ChatGPT brings up and learning about that model and how your competitors are showing up and how you're showing up on those models is, my favorite thing to do. And again, that's like the simplest thing, but then you can go into, we're building models in Claude to audit our website. So we're quickly finding things wrong in our websites that might have took us months to find that there's a broken link. So I think, starting basic and understanding how the models work and understanding how your customers, and then starting to build from that and finding efficiencies in how to optimize your team's time and optimize yourself and your presence to your customers, because they are using those models to find you and you want to make sure you're showing up as well as possible.
Fantastic. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for your time today. I know you're busy setting up new agents and engaging your customers where they want to find you and hopefully converting a lot of that great traffic into new customers for yourself. But really appreciate your time. Thanks again.